Alrighty, looks like we got folks piling right in here. Happy Monday to everybody, and welcome to Trade Ideas Live Q&A session. Get things rocking and rolling here. Looks like I'm having a little trouble with the software all of a sudden. My charts don't seem to want to load. Let's see here. Very strange. There we go. Not sure what was going on there. All right, we're back in business here. So again, happy Monday to everybody. Live open forum here, so don't be shy. Get those questions in if you have any for me. As per usual, no pre-done content on this. I'll rely on you folks to drive the content with your questions. You take that in the direction that you need to go. Raj, Ripman, Lucia. I'll be honest, I don't know. I hear that was the word on the street from Dan, but nobody has given me any inclination if it's going to be out. Also, when this is released at first, it's going to be just the simulation mode, just paper trading of it, not live. So that's all I can really tell anybody. All I can really tell anybody is the fact that this is strange. My charts are being all funky. All I can say is, Dan said it would be out, and no one has spoken to me about any of it from anywhere at this point. So that's all I can share. Not sure what the heck is going on with this here. But, I'm going to do that for now. Let's see if these charts can't fix themselves at some point. All right. So outside of that, that's the only answer I could give on that. I'm sorry to say, but don't be shy. Any other questions, get those in for me. Of course, software related. And we will do our best to answer those. Of course, nobody has any questions. I guess we'll figure out something to talk about, right? We got to have something to talk about. So, all right, no questions coming in for me right now. So we can look at an overall market roundabout here. The old SPY there. So not a whole lot cooking over the last week or so, give or take, on a SPY. And someone might say, what do you mean by that? And I would say, well, look here, zoom in a little bit. And this is Monday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, and the prior Friday, the prior Thursday, prior Wednesday, Tuesday. So not a whole lot going on here at this point, kind of moving sideways. I would like to note we've got some decreasing volume at the moment here. If anybody pays attention to seasonality, after 4th of July, we do see a little bit more choppier weakness, generally speaking. So we've got some decrease in volume going on here, and price just kind of drumming along there for us. Day trading or swing trading, which is better? That's like asking someone if they prefer a ribeye or a New York strip. You're gonna get you're gonna get personal opinion answers on that, Brian. So I think it's not about better; it's what's better for you. What I often tell people is the trader you are is not necessarily the trader you want to be. So my example of this is I wanted to be a day trader. I was going to make all this money day trading and do well and all that stuff like that. And, after a few years of day trading, while I started to eke out some successes, it was really hard fought to get those. And I started to make some conversions over to swing trading a bit. And I did better swing. I started doing better swing trading than I ever did day trading. As my swing trading got better, my day trading got slightly better for a period of time, and then I kind of gave it back. So I personally transitioned to swing trading. It's more conducive to my personality, my risk appetite, and how I had formed trading plans and how I like to read charts. So it turned out to be that I was a swing trader, regardless of what I actually wanted to be. So that's how I can best answer that question. And, it takes time sometimes to figure out the trader you are. It took me way longer than it should have, but that's the way it goes. So you got to think about who you are as a person, your personality, things of that nature. So don't be shy, everybody. It's a all right amount of people in here watching the stream. Please, if you have questions, folks, get those in for me. We're here to assist. We're here to answer those questions. But all right, yeah, so we talked a little bit about the SPY there. If no other questions are coming in at the moment. Move on to the Qs. It's going to be much of the same. Just wild. Let me try something. I can't even right-click those charts. Just dead in the water. All right. So Q's pretty much the same thing here, diamonds. Well, having trouble cutting losers, that has nothing to do with swing trading or day trading being good or bad or whatever. If you have trouble cutting losers on day trading, it's fair to say you'll likely have it on swing trading. That just becomes a discipline thing. And believe me, I know what it's like. Nobody wants to be a loser on a trade. I've, plenty of experience with it. One of the reasons I also found I was not good at day trading. I was really good at buying tops, or buying close to the top and having something reverse on me just within a few moments of having bought it. And so I understand that. I very much understand that. But having that discipline, I think I would be comfortable saying 35 to 45% of people that fail at trading, if they could just stop taking big losers, they would at least be closer to break even to slightly positive. If you could simply eliminate big losers, and if you went through and you thought about every big loser that you had, where would you be if you just didn't do that, right? Where would you be if you just didn't do that? So, my software is just acting crazy right now. Really something. So, that's something I'd really be pointing out to people. Eliminate, there's 4 possible outcomes to every trade. Big winner, small loser, big loser. Sure, they're break evens. Let's not, given commissions or whatever else, and the odds of you truly breaking even and the fact are you going to get out breaking even versus one of those other options is less likely also. So if we take the 4 likely outcomes, small winner, big winner, small loser, big loser, cut out big losers and then see where you are. I'm looking for a filter for pre-market high filter on alerts. Sorry, K-Fam, give me a second to wrap my head around what you're asking here. Looking for a filter, pre-market high filter on alerts. So we don't have a pre-market high filter on so here's what we have. Let me go over what we actually have regarding pre-market. You've got pre-market highs. That's just as simple as it's making a pre-market high. You have above or below pre-market highs and lows that you can use those. And you have the position in pre-market range. 0 would be the pre-market low, 100 would be the pre-market high. And those are all you have. And filters are filters, alerts are alerts. They don't cross or anything like that. In any alert window, you do need all filters to be met while the alert is also going off at the same time. There's no or conditions with alert windows. They're all and conditions as far as the filters go. So that's what you have as far as that goes. And then you can only do with what we have in there. It's only for filters, and you have to use the data points that exist. You can't make a data point up that doesn't exist. So for example, we don't have EMA data for scanning. You can't make an EMA filter, right? We don't have the close of 4 days ago, so you can't do change of close from 4 days ago, right? You have to work with those data points that exist within there. If you don't see it, we don't have it. We can do, I think what you're asking for is a custom that I have. I just randomly have it. I don't use it. You're looking for to change from the previous day's close to the pre-market high. Is that what you're looking for? If that's what you're looking for, I actually just happen to have that. Small world. I don't use it for anything, but someone asked for something like that before, and either I came up with it or I don't think anybody really knows her anymore, but Stephanie, who used to work in support here, came up with it. Are you familiar with the formula editor? Because I could just give you the formula. What is that? 26. If you're familiar with the formula editor, this is the formula, so you can have that. If you're not familiar with the formula editor, I think your yes is a response to familiar with it. You just shoot me an email and I'll stick it in your account. All right, perfect. If you have any trouble, just in case, info@trade-ideas.com, and I could assist you that way through there with it. If you have any trouble with it. Yeah, of course, happy to help. I love when things work out like that. I hate when people ask me for something and I say no. There are some ridiculous things that people ask for, and I don't mind saying no to those. It's not like I want to deny them it, but I don't feel bad necessarily for it. But when people want like reasonable scanning things, an example right now is I've had a few different people ask about higher highs and higher highs and how to scan for those. We don't have a way to scan for those, unfortunately. It is what it is. There's nothing I could do about it. And I don't like telling people no on that. I try to come up with some semi workarounds, but they're just semi workarounds. Why can I not close this window? Why is my software acting absolutely bat crap crazy right now? That's why. Very good. Bear with me, folks. I don't know what the heck is happening with my software here. Okay, perhaps that's the end of that nonsense. Very good, very good. So, all right, folks, keep the questions coming. No way to change that 20 minutes on the email notifications at this time. Sorry. So if you're familiar with I surmise you're familiar with the email situation. If you're not, I'll share the user's guide section on that, but there's no way to adjust any of that at this current time. For anybody, there is some limited email. All right, you read the manual. Yeah. So sorry, that's a no can do one. All right, very good, very good. So keep questions coming, folks. Any and all questions, please don't be shy. Oh yeah, we were looking at the cues before, but yeah. So we're kind of living there as far as the market goes. Diamonds real fast while other questions are coming in. Not DOA, DIA. Something similar with the diamonds. We're not at all-time highs on the diamonds, though. Actually, Dow Jones 30, in case anybody doesn't know what the diamonds represent, all-time highs were made back here. We still got a little bit to go for that, but looking pretty strong here now. It took a little longer to catch up to towards these highs than the others did. Would I please? Have you see chart alerts working finally? Okay, good there, K-Fam. Glad to know that you got a lot of stuff sorted out anyways. And of course, if you have anything else, but don't be shy to get that in here later on during the hour here. Rosen, sure, can I go over the swing picks channel? We could do that. Let me get out a channel bar. I should say doc channel bar. Pull out swing picks. And do you have specific questions on this? If not, what I can share here is a swing picks. It was was an add-on for people that are just looking for some ideas without doing any real work in the market. And so an algorithm was created for relative strength. It's a proprietary algorithm. And each Friday, we take the top 5 ranked stocks on that, assuming, things that we would exclude are buyouts and any like inverse ETFs or leveraged ETFs. We won't include those. So we take those outside of those kind of things, take those 5 top stocks. We put them in here. This is what goes out in an email to folks. And this is a splash page for it as well. And, we give a little write up here based on the video that I actually happen to do each week on it. And that's really that. And that's really the short and skinny of the swing picks. Inside the channel itself, outside of that welcome screen here, you've got a top list in a tree map format of those 5 stocks that are there. And you have the actual scan that those alerts come from. So this TI strength down here, this is where those alerts came from. Now, if we scroll back here to, I guess it would be what, yesterday's the 13th, 12th, the 11th. It doesn't go back that far, sorry. Well, if you were watching on the 11th, you'd have seen those in here, those stocks. And how you use it, it's subjective, right? Some people are eating cake with a fork. Some people are eating cake with a spoon, right? Same kind of thing here. These are meant to be longer term holds. The idea behind the algorithm was, a break of the Friday high, which is what we set the trigger price for, would be a trigger to get in. And you're supposed to get it at that price. So if it gaps way over, that you wouldn't be getting it at that price anymore. That becomes, discretionary. And this is not like advice. This is not, hey, we're doing this or we're running a portfolio like this or anything. It was just the way an algorithm was back tested going back, 10 years or something like that. And then we use a swing low, semi-discretionary, that swing low on what the suggested stop would be. But how someone wants to ultimately use it, it's up to them. The back test was done that buying at the price of the break of that Friday's high, and then holding it till the coming Monday's open or till a stop was hit is how that was back tested. But if you've got stuff that's working and you don't want to exit it, by all means don't exit it. But again, that becomes up to each trader how they do or don't want to get involved with that. And so that's the short and skinny there. So, you've got two stocks that are looking up at the moment from then. So AG and RCAT are up at this point. PAAS was up, given some back now. HSAI, that was also slightly up, has given some back and tested. And VIPS, same thing. No, first off, I don't believe in stupid questions outside of someone's trying to be a jerk, which I know you're not, doing that at all whatsoever. So there's definitely no stupid questions. I used to look long before I became a support team member here and employee of Trade Ideas. I used to ask a lot of questions like that myself. And, I started to slowly realize over time how a lot of the things I was asking were subjective in a sense. Not all the questions are subjective, of course. So please don't feel like that. Ask the questions. 100% ask the questions. The one thing that I try to, when I'm answering, the couple of things I try to encourage people always is to, have a trading plan that, you come up with, and you could use other things as the framework for that trading plan without any question, right? Test things out. I just always encourage folks, just don't blindly follow anything. Generally, that doesn't work. It may or may not for the swing picks. And someone may also say, well, if you're a swing trader, why don't you really use the swing picks? And I kind of sort of do, but they have to be in my price range. They have to be in an uptrend that I personally like. They can't have, I don't like stocks that are crazy volatile. So if you've got a stock that, over the last 3 months, it was at $1 and it was at like $40, that's just too volatile for me, generally speaking. That's just too much. And we could see swing picks that are like that. So I definitely look at the swing picks and I take some of them, not necessarily based on anything other than I'm going over charts from the swing picks when I have to do the video each week. And I'm like, oh, gee, I do like that chart. Let me thumbnail that one and keep an eye on it going forward. So I think, folks that are willing to put themselves out there, ask the questions, and continue to do the homework, those are the ones that are setting themselves up for more success than the ones that don't, without any question. Just looking at this chart, this HSAI chart, this happens to be one that I like, and I'm kind of considering it right now. I didn't take it yet. But someone would say to me, well, why do you like this? And I would say, all right, look, let's hold Hold on, let me get out of this now, out of the channel, because I think we kind of covered the channel itself. Let me put it up on the charts that I'm currently using. So HSAI. And I would say, look, you know, its lifetime high is $30. All right. And I don't know where that actually comes from because I don't see a $30 here, and this only goes back about 2 years. But so I'm kind of seeing like right here is maybe a symbol change or something is impacting that. I'm kind of seeing here is the recent highs. It was in a nice uptrend. It got caught up in the tariff news right here. It also pulled back to what I consider a very logical location to pull back, right? And it's kind of just grinding its way along here, and it takes out that level. A pretty decent looking chart overall. The one thing that has me hesitant is a China stock. And so now we're not just concerned about what's going on in the U.S. market, but I got to be concerned about what's going on in the Chinese market as well. So it's like, you know, I'm a little cautious about that there. But I'll tell you this, Andy Lindloff, who does the Thursday sessions here, and then, you know, me, Andy, and Steve, I do Mondays. I do Mondays. Steve does Thursdays. Andy does Fridays. And we split up like every other week who's doing the Tuesday ones. You know, Andy loves his stocks from China, and, you know, Andy blows me out of the water as far as trading goes. I mean, you know, Andy's a professional doing it for, you know, 25, 26, 27 years, whatever it is at this point. And Andy's seen way more markets than I have. He's seen more bull markets, more bear markets, and everything in between. And I got to say, Andy does well with the stocks from China. Doesn't mean he doesn't take his hits there as well. So I wouldn't let that deter you from it unless you have a reason to be deterred from it. That's your own kind of reason. Can I share a link to this layout? Sure, absolutely. Just keep in mind that this is actually, hold on. I just recently changed my layout to include this 60-minute chart here. So you know what? Bear with me for a moment. I'm going to set this up where I can actually share this layout with you. Hold on, because there's some things that I did with some of these scans that won't transfer to you folks. So bear with me, and I'm going to set this up that I could share it with you. Just bear with me a moment here, folks. And I also have some stuff that's on a symbols list here. Now, my liked, I can't share that. That's, you know, it's not that I don't want to. It's just my liked. That's my own personal symbols list. So you're welcome to write those down and then add them to your liked once I share this out, of course. Continue, just bear with me while I reconfigure a thing or two here so it's shareable. It's just that in these two race scans that I have here, I was using a custom 1-minute filter on the volume that won't transfer, but I can use the 5-minute instead. It doesn't impact the scan. It doesn't make any impact on the scan whatsoever. When I built it, I just went to that 1-minute one because that's what I liked. That's all. Continue to bear with me here, folks. Because I have an ETF watch list here, and I got to make sure I use the right list. So that's a shareable list, actually. All right, I think I got it all set up here. Yeah, all right, now let me share this, save this layout like this. Save or share to cloud, entire layout. Shared, we're going to call it shared layout from 7/14/2025. Save and share. And copy that and throw it here in the chat for you folks. And there you go. So the only thing that I believe won't make the transfer over to you folks is the stocks on this list here. You could just pull those up, write them down, whatever you want, and heart them. There isn't necessarily much special on these. They're just some stocks I'm semi-interested in, and some of them I own for dividends for like a very, very, very long time. So, unless you're planning to own them for dividends and reinvest the dividend, and you're looking at a 5-10 year horizon, there'd be no reason to be interested in some of these stocks whatsoever. And even then, you got to make sure that it works for you. I've owned some of these stocks for quite a long time that have the dividends in them. So, all right, that's where we're living with that. And all right, so we're at 12:32 Eastern. Don't be shy. If you folks have questions, please continue to get those questions in for me. Alrighty. What else is happening? What else is happening right now? I don't know. Kind of just sitting around waiting for things to happen myself at this point. Not running into anything at the moment. Some stuff that I'm looking at. I am looking at this SYM chart. Thinking about a position there. Not doing one yet, but had itself a bit of a run up here. It's quite the run up. I'd love to see it continue to consolidate for another several days here. That would be nice if it can hold this level up in here. That might be something I'm interested in. A bit off its lifetime high. We got to hit the Wayback Machine here to there. It has a massive short float, what I'd consider a massive short float here. So if this thing can continue to stay up in this area here, anybody short this thing, they're not short it in here right now. You don't see that data coming in for a little bit here. So you got to be short it mostly probably in here. I doubt anybody short it from back here. If they were, I'd have to, question their collective wisdom to be up that much in a position and not have closed it, some of it anyways, along this way and let it come all the way back to here and above it. So you got to figure a lot of the people short this right now are underwater. So probably not feeling so great on that. I'm trying since a couple of days to trade directly within TI software. I'm using IBKR. I've connected it successfully. Often don't see positions which are ordered through the brokerage plus. So, a few things that I'd point you at here. Have you watched my video on connecting, Rosen, for connecting brokerage plus to Trader Workstation? If you haven't watched my video yet, I'm going to share that with you. There are things I just cannot do on screen. First off, all right, watch that video. That video is specific to setting up Trader Workstation. Some stuff that I could share right now. Like I have an IB account still, but I can't load it up, or otherwise it's going to show my IB account stuff. But if you're connected, I'm just connected to Paper Trader. Make sure that you got all accounts selected, or you have the accounts you want to see are selected. Strategies, types, all that. Make sure there's no filter blocking anything. Check your orders here. Things of that nature. What else is really important? You got to make sure you have the proper data package. I go over that data package that you need in that video. Let me see. I might have a screenshot of it here. Let's see what I've got here. All right, yeah, these are this data package here. This is what you need from IBKR. Now, truth be told, I believe you can use just this one here. If you can get that one for $4.50 a month, you only need that. I've always used this one with it as well for other various reasons. But if you have $30 in commissions a month, they waive that $10 anyways. So, you know, I also think there's a period of time you had to have this one in order to get that one. I think the way it works is this one takes care of the API data, but if you want time and sales with an IB, you need this one as well. I'd say, you know, for more confirmation on that, reach out to them, but it's a combination of these two that you need to have the data for the API to come in correctly and display your positions correctly within Brokerage Plus. Then the other thing that's really important is you got to have your API set up correctly. And I go over that API inside that video. That's the focus of that video. I don't know if I have a screenshot of that. Oh, I do. Look at that. All right, here's the API. Your API must, with no exceptions, be configured exactly like I show here, with what is checked and what is unchecked. And again, I go over all that in that video there. If you're paper trading, your socket port is 7497. If you're live trading, it's 7496. Everything else should look exactly the same as what I have there. And then just make sure you don't have any firewalls or antivirus or anything like that blocking you, essentially. Close that back that way. So Pepe says, yes, you need both. Now, I know way back when, and when I say way back when, I want to say it was 2019, the $4.50 package, you used to be able to subscribe those individually for $1.50 each. And I just only used those, and it worked fine for me way back then. This was 2019. And then I stopped using IBKR for a while. And the next time I went back and was going to use IBKR again, I had to have both those packages, if I remember correctly. And I've just never messed with it ever since then. I don't know, it's 2021, 2022. I can't remember. I don't really use IBKR for much of anything anymore, but I still have the account. It's still there. There's a few dollars in it anyways. No DAS, whatever people call it. No Brokerage Plus connection to that at all. Sorry. We connect to E-Trade, IBKR, and Alpaca. I will say this, please take it with a grain of salt. We are working on a TradeStation connection. This is not like something we're working on and it's not going to happen. We have a deal in place with TradeStation to make this happen. Will it happen in 6 weeks from now? That's possible. It's possible we could see that connection 6 weeks from now. Could it be in 4 or 5 months from now? That is also possible. Generally speaking, I will never, ever say it is going to happen in this time frame because I'm not a developer and I know how things can go in the development side of things. But, you know, given I know our developer that's working on it and I'm working kind of hand in hand helping with the two teams, the two development teams, the API teams, kind of brokering things back and forth between them, I'm fairly confident to say that this connection will happen by the end of the calendar year 2025. But I say I'm fairly confident in it, not 100% confident in it. So please consider all of that. Yeah, and if you don't have the proper data packages in it, it's strange because I've come across people that swear Brokerage Plus stuff worked with Trader Workstation for a year or longer, and they didn't have the data packages, and things stopped working afterwards. And all I can say is, sometimes you put your shoes on the wrong way and they feel fine for a while, right? I don't have anything else that I could share on that, why that was for those folks. So, all right, good stuff so far. Good stuff so far. And again, please do not be shy. Please keep it coming for me here. Well, I'm connected to the paper trader, and I got a RKLB position in the paper trader. Apparently, it's doing well. Good for me. So what else is happening? I was going to talk about something. So I mentioned before I was a little interested in SYM, hoping that maybe consolidates a little bit. I can't help but be interested in some of these other AI plays, IO and Q. That's something else that I'm watching here. Although it's kind of looking iffy these days. We'll see what happens. ON is another stock that I'm watching here. It's like semiconductor chips. This is one that I foolishly. It is what it is. I'd taken a trade in this back here, actually, somewhere around here, and taking it somewhere around the $50 level. And when it started to pull back on here, I got out of it. And of course, it's continued to do that since. So that kind of sucked, but that's life. I continue to watch it anyways as, I guess, punishment for myself. AAOI is another AI play that I'm watching. I find this one kind of interesting here. It's just kind of trying to grind higher after this day. It made a real nice move here. AI itself, another stock I'm watching here. So anyways, that's where I'm living. TOST, another one here. Information related. I'm watching this here. Sorry, Iris. I just realized you posted something there. Iris, I apologize. I did not see that. Hopefully, you're still here, Iris. How did I get the orange buy and sell on the charts? That's a trade wave feature here. I'm going to give you a video on it. You can bookmark the video for later, but I'll go into details on that now. Again, Iris, I do apologize. I did not see your post there. You know what it was? Is just a number of other things came in, and I was off on a tangent there about the other stuff there. So, anyways, the trade wave, in order to get those buy and sells, right click your chart, make sure the browser interface is checked here. You got to have a check mark in that. And then if you have that check mark, you're going to look for an FX on the chart. See that FX I got right there? Go ahead and click that. And then you click that trade wave, and that would do it. And it's essentially looking at an EMA cloud crossover, trying to find trends. That's all. It's trying to find a change in trend. So every time the trend, quote, changes based on those EMAs. And if you want to see the settings of that, nothing too fancy. These little dots here, that'll get you the settings. And so you've got, you can't move that window anymore, apparently. Used to be able to move this window. Ain't that something? Anyways, you got the fast EMA is 8, slow EMA is 9. And so that's where you're living with that. You can change it, make it an SMA if you want to. But unless you have a reason that you want to change those things, I would highly recommend just leaving the defaults. That's all. And again, all it's trying to do is find a change in trend. And then if the trend doesn't change again, keep you in there, essentially. You can also, you could put more or less buy sell signals on there, flags, whatever you want to call them. So I have it, display the last two only. But if I do this and I press OK, you're going to see a whole bunch come on this daily chart now. See all those other ones. And I'm just going to close the picture-in-picture real fast just to show something off here. Look, you're getting chopped up all through here, but then you get this one buy signal. You don't get a sell signal till here. But this is where trend following becomes a bit of an art. You got to be an artist. You get the buy signal here. And notice we take out this from back here. So that might have been, a buy signal to get you interested, not necessarily in it, because if you just traded those, you probably didn't do well. And you get it moving through here and a nice move up here, So just a one way to use that feature there for yourselves. Again, say this a lot of times. People take it for what it's worth. But outside of the people that are trading 10-second charts, maybe even we could exclude the 1-minute chart people, but they could be kind of included. Trading is trend following and risk management, right? We're trying to find a trend, identify it as early as possible, get into it as early as we feel we've identified that trend and that trend should remain, and then to get out when we think the trend is breaking down as soon as we think it's breaking down. That's what trend following is, right? That's what it is at its core. And so a tool like the Trade Wave is there to kind of help you with that, identifying the change in the trend and hopefully keep you in that trend for as long as possible. And then identify when that trend has made a change. So I've got a couple more minutes here before I wrap up for the day as far as this session goes. Again, I'd like to highly encourage anybody with questions, please get those in sooner than later. So Warby Parker, look at that. They've been around a hot minute now. Let's see what this says on the profile. Warby Parker's only been around since 2010. I feel like they've been around longer than that. Maybe they're only a publicly traded company since 2010. I do not wear glasses, so I guess I don't know. I don't know nothing. But nevertheless, this is an interesting chart, and someone, that's not what I wanted to do. Someone would say, why is it an interesting chart, Chris? I would say, I need to load the chart again first. I would say, you got the sell-off here, and it started well before actually any tariff news or anything like that. We got this nice bounce, and we got this nice consolidation going on here, right? And look at this, price kind of likes this level, right? There's a little bit of resistance here. Tried to be support, came back down. It's resistance again. So if we get back above that and get that picture-in-picture out again too. Might have a little room here. If we can continue to move itself up there. I'm not interested in enough for me to put it on a liked list or anything like that, but this is the kind of pattern that I do like to see these kinds of things playing out. I do like these kinds of charts. Someone might say, well, why aren't you really interested in it? And I would say that, I'd like to see maybe a little more volume than that, number one. And number two, it's living down here right now. I'm not crazy about that. You got that and then that above it if we look, hitting the Wayback Machine on it though. So What are some of my criteria for a swing trade? I got to be in an uptrend. Can't be too far along in that uptrend. You got to have some distance to some highs going on. So let's go through. This is this scan here I like for finding swing trades. So let's go through some charts, and I can say I like, I don't like. So I liked this chart coming in and through here. It's gotten away from us now, but I did like it up and through there. A nice uptrend going on for quite a while there. Train has left the station at this point, but up until it leaving the station right there, I believe it was on a list until the other day for me. I don't like this one. It's in a downtrend still. Now, someone might say, yeah, but look at it recently. Yeah, that's fine, but look at that there. That ain't enough of an uptrend for me. Plenty of stocks to choose from. That ain't one of them. Beautiful chart here. Beautiful chart here. And someone will say, why is it so beautiful? This big base really jumped and broke out of it. It's tested and come back. It's taken out some highs. It's now at all-time highs right here, right? I'd like to see it settle in a little bit here, and that's going to be something I might just be interested in here. Curious what gambling industries. Everybody loves to pick on the degenerates, right? I mean that with the utmost of love. Gambling's one of those tricky things. You know, you see a lot of folks, a lot of families destroyed by it, so it's a tricky thing there. Gambling, you know, gambling, drugs, any kind of addiction. It's a tricky thing there. So you don't want to profit off people's misery, but also, look, you know, there's plenty of responsible gamblers out there too as well. So anywho, interesting here. Kind of DraftKings came up on something I was experimenting with for a scanner recently. So I'm watching DraftKings as well. I've been kind of watching that too. So interestingly enough, you get this nice turnaround here, and just look at this beautiful consolidation. It could break out, you know, it could break out. It's really interesting. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and like DraftKings now. For the record, I don't give a hoot about sports. I used to be a huge sports person. And then sometime in the early 2000s, I just stopped caring about sports altogether. Follow the Yankees because I'm from the Bronx area. But that's really it. So, Brian, those are kind of things. Let's keep it. We've got a few minutes before I wrap up here. Let's continue to look at some more charts here. Warner Bros. Not really interested in that. Still kind of downtrendy to me on the long term. I could see why someone would be interested in it on the short term. If it pop above this 12, maybe got a little room for a buck or two there. I get it. Just not for me. The risk reward isn't high enough. Because a lot of what I look at for my risk is this period low of 20. I don't necessarily use it as a stop, but when I see a lot of space between current price and that makes me a little uncomfortable. Pitney Bowes, man, this stock has been around for God knows how long. 1920, there we go. I don't know if it's been publicly traded since 1920, but it's been publicly traded for a very, very long time. PBI, Pitney Bowes. Nice uptrend. It never really does a whole lot. I mean, its lifetime high is 21 bucks here. So it's not one of those real dynamic movers. So for that reason, I don't really, you know, you do this long enough, you look at enough charts, you start to remember stuff. So I just don't have interest in it, generally speaking, for that reason. Not that I have zero interest in it, but I just don't have a lot of interest in it. APLE. Yeah, I got no interest in that whatsoever. ZVRA. Therapeutics, I'm very cautious with pharmaceuticals and biotechs and stuff like that. Something you get smoked on real hard, you know, bad press release, drug doesn't go well in the pipeline, a study doesn't go well, you know, stuff like that. So you got to be extra careful with these kinds of stocks. It could be just as cut the other side as well. You know, all of a sudden you're in one of these and you get the big approval or something. You're in at 10 bucks and it's open at 25 the next day. But you could also be in it at 10 bucks and you open the next day at $2. So, you know, it happens. I've been on the bad side of it. I've never really been on the good side of it. So just, something to keep in mind here. I'm going to spend the last couple minutes going over a few more charts of things that I like and don't like and just kind of talking, unless someone has something else for me in the next moment or two, and we'll wrap up that way. Is that Paramount? Yeah, so interesting. We got Warner Brothers and Paramount here. Again, not a huge fan of these, but, they're there. YMAX, YMAX. Some kind of dividend yield ETF. Nothing really to comment there. We'll skip right over that one. ENVX, again, not crazy about it. I don't know. Battery manufacturing broke out of this $10. I'd love to see this consolidate for a little bit here, right? You got some levels that are kind of close here. You still haven't stopped making lower highs, right, on this monthly chart at this point. If it takes this level out here, I'd be more interested in it. I'm almost talking myself into liking the stock as we watch, but it's made us, pretty serious move here this year so far. I need it to consolidate for a hot moment up here, right? If it continues to show its head on scans moving forward, I'd probably throw it on a like list. If not, I'll forget about it. Finance, nothing really to comment here. It's not really anything. It looks like it just loves to move sideways nonstop. ISSC, aircraft engine manufacturing. I don't know. Look, the thing's doing 10 times what it normally does for volume right now, and it's traded 1 million shares. So it tells me it doesn't trade basically at all. Although we could see some interest has come in the last couple of months here. It's really moved itself up. Again, it's becoming one of those ones. Can I talk myself into liking it? Yeah, actually it could. But, after this move like this, I'd like to see it consolidate again for a little bit like that. So, all right, folks, I guess that's going to do it for me here on the day. I appreciate you all coming and hanging out with me. I want to say there's a good chance I'm here tomorrow. I mean, there's always a good chance I'm here tomorrow, but I mean for the live stream. I will confer with my teammates there, my senior teammates. I think Andy did it last Tuesday. So me or Steve tomorrow, but I'm going to offer to do it. If for some reason I'm not here tomorrow, of course I'll be back next Monday. So I do appreciate all the comments. I always appreciate you folks hanging out with me here. As I always say, if you're not in the Traders Room with Barry, you're doing yourself about as large of a disservice as you possibly could be doing yourself. Barry's just a total professional. There's a lot of other great folks in that room that are willing to chat it up with you if you have legit questions. The stuff that came in here today, those are legit questions, folks. I encourage you to continue to ask questions like that. That's the kind of stuff, that I think successful traders that are decent human beings. What do I mean by that? I think anybody who's a successful trader and has that sense of community and understands what it takes from, they want to pay it forward. They also believe that there's room at the top for everybody. Those kinds of things like that. So if you're not in the Traders Room with Barry, again, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Let me get a link for that just in case. Traders Room, copy link. Put that in here. And there you have it, sports fans. So again, I thank you all very much. I hope you all, if I don't see you, have a wonderful rest of the week. If I do see you, I'm still wishing you a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll do that again tomorrow as well. So thanks, folks. We will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.